Thank you for tuning in with us every Thursday at 8 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. About our host, Carlotta Taylor is not just a survivor of child abuse, but has grown into what we come to know as our personal thriver against all odds, who no longer flinches at adversity, but overcomes with authority. Carlotta decided to find the courage to say yes to herself. Miss Taylor has piece by piece faced her biggest adversary, the brokenness, and healed not only herself, but has also affected thousands through her outreach and influence. Carlotta Taylor is the author of the best-selling book, No More Flinching. Getting to the heart of the matter has always been what Carlotta is about. To keep in touch, text Carlotta to 888-111. It's time for the show to begin. It wouldn't be the same without you, because this is the place people bond worldwide, sharing powerful stories, prevailing over adversity. The heart of the matter is the people's joy. Now, turn your attention to our host, Carlotta Taylor, as the show begins.
Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Heart of the Matter show, the place where your voice is heard. I am your favorite host, Carlotta Taylor, and today we get to the heart of the matter with Dr. Tiffany. All right, you are get ready. Be sure to share this broadcast wherever you are tuning in from. Hello, Facebook. Hello, YouTube. Let's get ready to get this show started. You want to tap into this, so be sure to share with 5 people that you love. So without further ado, let's go ahead and bring up Dr. Tiffany. Hello, Dr. Tiffany.
Hello.
How are you doing today?
Good evening. How are you?
I'm doing amazing, amazing. You look very beautiful. I love the glasses, the specs. Very
Oh, well, thank you.
Very
Thank you. I'm loving the hair.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, so let's go ahead and dive right into it. What does getting to the heart of the matter mean to you?
You know, when I think about getting to the heart of the matter, I think about telling the truth. I think about telling the truth. And I think that, in the world that we live in today, telling the truth is hard. I think it's especially hard for somebody like me, especially in the profession that I'm in. Sometimes telling the truth, we're afraid that it's going to make us look bad. We're afraid that we're going to be judged. We're afraid to be human.
Yes.
And so, as a licensed therapist, I think that as a professional, we've bought into the idea that there is something shameful about being broken or about being wounded, all of which I've experienced. And so that is my heart of the matter is telling the truth.
I absolutely love it. I'm getting the vibes already. I really already like where this is going. Thank you for your transparency. Thank you for saying, you know what, I'm going to get on the Heart of the Matter show and I'm going to share my truth, even in my profession. You're being an example. So many people, Dr. Tiffany, are going to be looking up to you today for having the courage, because somebody else wants to be here sharing their story too, but they're just afraid, just like you just explained.
Yeah, absolutely.
So thank you.
Absolutely.
Be sure to show Dr. Dr. Love. Be sure to show Dr. Tiffany some love right now. Put some hearts on the screen. Let us know you're here. Let us know where you're tuning in from. You already can tell this is going to get good. What we always do here, because childhood is so important, and I know you being a licensed professional in your field, you know that. And just walk us through little Tiffany, back in the day. How was life growing up?
Yeah, well, I was born in Greenwood, Mississippi. I was born to a teenage mother. My mother was 15 years old when she had me. And so I know that, growing up in the South, that was like, it was not uncommon for, people were having babies. And even now, 15 years old, 16 years old. And so after she had me, she had my brother. It was like a year later, she had another baby. So my mother is now 16, 2 kids. A couple years later, she had another child, my sister. And then she had another baby, my brother.
Well, all right.
And so I was I was the oldest of 4. And so I learned, as the eldest, you learn to be responsible very quickly. You learn to lead. You learn to be the one that's, solve the problems. You learn to kind of be the overachiever. But, one thing that I do know is, that I recognize that my mother, she was a kid, when she had me. So she was kind of thrust into learning how to be a mom when she was still a teenager.
Right.
And so as a therapist, I'm a big proponent on recognizing the role of attachments and bonding in your early childhood, and that when those attachments and those bondings, if there's a breakdown in there somewhere, that can definitely influence your attachment styles later on in life, i.e. your relationships.
Yeah.
And so I say that to say that I think that my mother, she had her own wounds. Back then, nobody was talking about wounds and unhealed stuff. It was like, listen, I'm trying to make sure you're fed and you got clothes and rent is paid. And she was thrown into that. So there was not a lot of time for this whole, tell me how you feel, tell me what's going on with your emotions, that kind of thing. And so I do feel like that had an effect on the way that I dealt with it, with relationships growing up. And so what happened for me is that I found myself in a cycle of these unhealthy, toxic relationships. I found myself holding on to men in relationships who they didn't want the relationship. And I was always there trying to find a way to say, well, we can work it out. Let's fix this. You cheat on me and I'm still saying, okay, well, listen, how can we fix this? Or, yeah. So it's almost like lack of boundaries, So what I learned about myself was that I habitually gravitated toward what I soon learned were what they would call emotionally unavailable people. And so I didn't know that at the time, but what I did was I started journaling when I was about 12, and I still journal to this day. And the book that I wrote that is called Lessons in the Valley, Overcoming the Cycle of Relationship Woundedness, is a combination of journal entries from over the last 15 years of my life. And what it highlights is a cycle of me getting into relationships that were not healthy and then falling apart when they didn't work. Getting into another one, falling apart. So every relationship breakup, I would have a breakdown. Breakup, breakdown. And so over time, I wanted to figure out, like, what is this about? Like I wanted to heal that.
Right.
And that was really the journey for me writing Lessons in the Valley. That's kind of where that started.
We're gonna get there. We're gonna get there.
Okay.
Listen, oh my gosh, you have said so much, and your education and your experience is piercing through like a beam of light, Dr. Tiffany. Because one, I didn't know we had so much in common. I am also the oldest of four.
Okay.
And one thing I can say positive about your mom, because I know you speak very well of your mom, and you're a sayer in the minute. Hey, she had her own struggles. I had a great life. But one thing I can say positive is that she had you all. Think about it, because so many people back in that day, because I was one of those babies that was like, hey, what should we do? Have her or not?
Yeah. Now she did that. I was almost my grandmother told me I was almost aborted. She said your mama came in the cafe with the abortion papers and my grandma was like, get on out of here with that. We ain't doing that. So that could have happened, but to God be the glory, that didn't happen.
Amen. 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 And you're here today, and I know this interview is going to help somebody. For those of you who are tuning in, we are getting to the heart of the matter with Dr. Tiffany, and you do not want to miss this, because so many women and men all over the world are experiencing what she is going over and talking about right now. We're going to get to why she's on the Heart of the Matter show. She's being a brave soul right now, and everybody can relate to this topic. I'm telling you, because I know I can. I've been there, done that several times. And now, being the oldest of four, you talk about how you are used to being the mature one, the overseer. That's what got me into law enforcement. I did it by default. It's like I was
Yeah.
almost there. I was their other mother, the other parent.
Right.
And that's why law enforcement came so easy to me. And I believe that's why you are the leader you are today, because of
Yeah.
that experience in your youth, being the oldest sibling. That
Right.
is so amazing, Dr. Tiffany. So let's pick back up because you was on a roll there. Let's pick
Yeah.
back up where you were, before we're going to get to the book a little later. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
But yeah, come on, take us right back there where you were. And I'm just all ears right now.
I was kind of on the relationship thing, and I think that we live in a society where we don't the connectedness that we have with others, it doesn't get enough attention. We are expected, for example, if somebody breaks up with you, if somebody abandons you, if somebody leaves you, the world tells us, girl, please put your dress up and get on and just get up and replace them and put on and I don't think that we recognize that that's an injury, that's a wound, it hurts, especially if you have an attachment style, I would say, like mine is more what they would call an anxious attachment style, to where that's a attachment injury that is very painful. And I know that my past, in the past, it's taken me a while to get past something like that. That's not something that I've recovered from easily. Now you have someone else with what they call an avoidant attachment style. They avoid emotion, they avoid connection, so they can get up, go, and everybody is different. But I just really don't think that the connection and the healing power of relationships gets enough attention. Let me say the healing power of healthy relationships, it doesn't get enough attention. We're just, we don't we're promoted to be independent
Mm.
when there is a such thing as being interdependent. So you don't have to be dependent on somebody, and you don't have to always be Miss or Mr. Independent. You can be independent, which means you can have a healthy reliance on someone else
Mm.
and still be self-sufficient when
Okay.
you need to be. So my struggle, kind of getting back to that, was when it came to the relationships. I really, really struggled really bad in that area, to where there were moments where I was just like, God, I don't know what you're doing here, but this is not working for me. like,
Yeah.
like, where is my Boaz? You know what I mean? Like, what is
Come
going
on now.
on here? Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Dr. Tiffany, you
Yeah.
just bring it back so many memories of my own life. I remember being in one
Yeah.
catastrophic, just horrible relationship where I'm on the highway
Yeah.
and I'm like, let me out the car now. And I'm out
Yeah.
walking on the freeway. I'm talking about cars passing. One of my friends came and picked me up. Thank God be the glory. But I remember being in those moments like, God, I got to get out of this. I have to.
Yeah. But you know what's so bad is sometimes when I was the one that wanted the relationship to work so bad that after you do something that bad to me, I still want to forgive you and I want to make it work.
Oh,
I still want to figure out how can we fix it.
wow.
You know what I mean? And it's like you get to a point where the deal breaks to the point where the things that you promised you would never tolerate, you
Mm,
tolerate. And
wow.
then you look back like, wait a minute, how did this happen? How did I become this person? And
Yes.
so I think that not in a shaming way, because I don't believe that shaming and blaming works when you
Right.
start talking about, but I believe that ownership is important to say, okay, wait a minute. I participated in this
Yes.
because I could have made a decision to leave. I could have said, okay, no more, I'm done.
Yes.
But I didn't, for whatever reason. And then whatever reason that is, it's important to look back and say, okay, well, what was going on with me? What was my fear? I call it the fog: fear, obligation, and guilt. Fear,
Mm,
obligation, and guilt will keep you in situations that you know are not good. You think it's love, it's
yes.
not. It's fear, it's obligation, it's guilt. It's just not. It's not healthy. And that's where when I wrote the book, and that's where I kind of found myself in multiple
Yes.
times.
Now let me
Yeah.
ask you a question, Dr. Tiffany, because I love that fear, obligation, guilt, fog. I love the way you put that together. But why do you feel that you had that fog? Why?
Hmm.
What do you think that was birthed from?
Yeah. I think that people would call it what, there's a term that's called codependency. I think that there was a little bit of that in there. That I was overly reliant on somebody else to make me feel good about myself, to reassure me that it's okay, reassure me that I'm okay, reassure me that you're going to love me no matter what, because I'm going to love you no matter what. Reassure me that I think it was like that over reliance, that reassurance that I put on another person, not realizing that no one person can be
Yes.
all, you know what I mean, can be all what you need them to be. You need to kind of spread that out a little bit, and kind of have your network, and I think that that's kind of what that was. I don't want to call it low self-esteem, but it may have been that too. It may have been a part of me that didn't feel valuable within myself, and that I was looking for somebody else to validate me and to make me feel like I was good enough. And I think that part of that played a lot into that.
Right. So you say you've been journaling ever since 12 years old. So what made you
Yeah.
start journaling? Because I know most 12-year-olds now, like, where did that seed come from?
My mother.
Come
My
on now.
mother.
What's your mom's name? What's her name?
Mama. What'd you say?
We gotta give your mom a shout out. What's her name?
My mom, Muriel, she's in California. Muriel McDade, my mother, she gave me a journal, and
Wow.
she used to journal. So when she was
Mm.
a little girl, she would journal. And so I remember her giving me a journal. The first book she ever gave me was a book by Toni Morrison. I think it was like I don't know if it was like The Bluest Eye or something, but I just remember she would give me books like that. And then she would give me like blank journals. She would just be like, just write. And I remember I would write all type of stuff. I would write about how angry I was with her when we would have disagreements. I would write about boyfriend stuff. I would write about my brothers and my sister, how angry I was with them. And then it just became a pattern where I would write every single day, to where I have like 12, like 13 journals of my life. It's just, and I can see the transition. I can see the change. I can see the change in my thoughts. I can see the change in how I do things. Dealt with relationships, I started seeing the same words over and over again. He don't love me. I'm not valuable. He left me. I started seeing, I was like, what is this? I went back, and that again, we'll get to the book, but that is how the book got birthed. And it was a many nights I cried writing that book, because I didn't want to go back and read that again.
Right.
I didn't want to read that again.
Man, that's so interesting. Well, you have me wanting to, because I'm really big on energy, okay? And so you have me wanting to tap into some of the law of attraction stuff right now. Let me ask you a question, because it just popped out. Do you feel like, as you're entering into that relationship, right? Did you have any thoughts, any self-doubt thoughts of yourself before going into the relationship?
We might be having a little bit of a
Let me try
connection problem. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. As you were going into that relationship, did you have any of those thoughts, like self-doubting thoughts, before the relationship started, before the other person came into the picture?
Tell me again. Ask your question for me again.
Okay, so before the relationship started, let's just say you're single for a day, because I know I've been in those situations where as soon as I'm out of a relationship, I'm right back into another one. That lasted for a long time until I had to finally say, I got to get to know me.
Yeah.
So before, like as a single woman, if any given day you were single before a relationship started, or in the beginning when you didn't really know that person, they really didn't know you, did you ever have like self-doubting thoughts about yourself before anybody else was in the picture? That's the question.
I don't know if it was self-doubting thoughts about me as much as during that time where it was self-doubting thoughts about the other person. And even though I wasn't, because I didn't jump into another relationship. I never did that. I always wanted to wait, but it was always somebody else waiting. It was like I would get out of a relationship and somebody was waiting on me to get out of that relationship They like, look, I'm waiting on him to mess up. Soon as he mess up, I'm down. But I just wasn't that girl. You know what I mean? I'm like, I don't want to be that person.
Right.
So I would talk, I would entertain, have conversation, but I would notice things like from them, and so then I said, well, maybe I don't need to even be talking to anybody. But I
Right.
think we all have some self-doubt, because after each relationship would end, I would start asking myself, well, maybe it is me. I would be like, well, is something wrong with me? Like, maybe I'm not. Maybe I had a guy tell me one time that I wanted too much. He told me, he said, you just want too much. He said, um you want too much from me. And I think that broke my spirit, because I started asking myself, well, what do I want? I've never been a girl. I don't, I've always been self-sufficient in terms of my money, in terms of my career. I don't need no bag. I got my bag is secure in terms of my money. I don't need, what I mean? That type of thing, that I don't need that. I will, again, going back to the attachment style, I need the emotional
Yes.
connection. I need the attunement. I need to know that if I cry in front of you, that you're not going to accuse me of being manipulative, that you're going to be on my side. You know what I mean? And so if that's too much, that really made me question, well, is that too, maybe I am asking for too much. Maybe in this day and age, that was my mind. But over time, I realized that I wasn't asking for too much. I was asking from what I wanted from the wrong people.
Yes.
So
That's it.
I had to get those kind of thoughts out of my mind. But when I tell you, Carlotta, it was a struggle. I was depressed. I went to therapy. I was going through school during some of those moments, and I was getting my degree to be a therapist. I was in therapy. I'll tell people right now, I am a licensed therapist, but I have a therapist. I am a promoter of therapy. I am not somebody who is, I do therapy, but I can't go to therapy. I don't go to therapy every week, but every couple of months, I go see my therapist just to check in. Say, hey, let me just kind of flesh some stuff out with you, and just kind of go there.
Yes. I love it. I love the transparency, the openness. Somebody is definitely going to get blessed by hearing your story, because so many people like myself can definitely relate. If you're tuning in just now, we are getting to the heart of the matter with Dr. Tiffany. She is sharing her story of how she's overcoming emotional attachments. She said, I've been choosing the wrong people to get involved in who are not emotionally available. How many people take responsibility for their actions? She's not saying I'm blaming y'all. I blame myself. Now let's get to how. What made you want to go in your field? Like, just tell us about that spark. Like, was it
Yeah.
always there? Did you grow up as a little girl saying, I know I want to be a therapist. I already know this, or how did that play out?
Well, I may be giving away my age a little bit, but I'm not sure if you remember the Ricky Lake show. You remember the Ricky Lake show? This
Oh
talk
yeah,
show.
yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, I love that show. Yes.
I used to watch that show as a little girl, and I was always intrigued by all the drama and the dysfunction and the arguing. So that was the initial little spark. But over time, that little spark of interest, it expanded to, I recognized that drama was really trauma.
Mm.
So it was like, yeah, that's drama, but that's generational trauma. And then you look at, okay, yeah, you have the organic conditions, depression, schizophrenia, bipolar, all of that. But then you open up a whole world of other stuff. People think they have daddy wounds. There's a such thing as a mother wound.
Ooh.
You can have a mother wound. Everybody going around going, my father wasn't in my life, but then do you know that you can also have a mother wound? And
Yes.
so the messages that you hear in your mind about yourself, that might not be you. That might be the message that your mother gave you about you growing up as a little girl. So, it's just, it opened up so many other avenues that I wanted to investigate. And with the field of mental health, it's so broad that you can go anywhere. You can go down any street to help somebody. And so I got a chance to choose where I wanted to go. And I feel like, God allowed me to go through a lot of stuff so that I just didn't walk into this field with book sense.
Yes.
I don't just walk up in here with a pretty degree on the wall. So when I'm helping somebody, I tell them, listen, I'm not just talking to you from no book. I'm talking to you from an area that I've been where you are, and I know the pain that you in. So when somebody come to me and they're suicidal, I know what it feels like to want to stop breathing. You know, where you like, Lord, if I don't wake up tomorrow, it's fine with me. Because you're in so much pain. You know, you just in so much pain that you don't know no other way to make the pain stop. So my decision to want to go down that path was just my desire to feel like I know God didn't make me have to go through this in vain. It just cannot be in vain. And feeling like I can make a difference in this world in that area.
Wow, that is so amazing. So here you are, a therapist and things, and so you're doing your job. What
Right.
inspired you to want to write a book?
You know, again, it was the journaling. I have a tendency, you know, with all my journals, I go back and I read what I wrote from the previous year. And sometimes I'll just pick up my journal and read what I wrote from the last month. And then it was too many things that kept too many emotions that kept happening. So it was like, okay, I felt this emotion before. I remember I felt this. So I went back and I would start reading things. And so again, this book has been in the making for years. It was like during COVID, it was almost like the perfect time to do it. But I
Yeah.
picked it up before and I put it down. But I put it down because I was embarrassed. So it was like years and years and years ago, I started writing the book. But when I got to the parts that I felt was too embarrassing to tell, I just closed the whole book up. And so then it came up again. Go ahead and write. Start writing again. When it got to the point that it was too shameful to tell somebody that I went through that, I put the book up again. So it was like the fact that it wouldn't go away was
Yes.
an indicator to me that it needed to be written.
You need
So
to
I
push
just
through.
sat in it. I just sat on the cactus chair. I sat in my stuff and I wrote it.
Yes. I
And
can
so
relate
I just
to
had to
that.
let it out.
Yeah, I can relate to that. Shout out to you for pushing through and working through that. I remember writing my story was very interesting. Had a few
Mm-hmm.
breakdown moments, got right back to it. But once it was
Yeah.
completed, when it was time to hit that publish button, it was
Yeah.
something about that. Oh, here it is. No,
Like,
people.
do I really want to tell people this? Yeah. You like, do I really want to say this?
Right. People are going to be people. Yes, you're going to inspire a lot of people, but people are also going to judge you. It's just going to happen. And then
Yeah.
you start getting inside your own head, like, what are people going to think? And do I
Yeah.
really want to do this? But at the end of the day, cheers, girl, because we did it. I am so proud of you. I believe you were you at my book signing?
I
I can't.
was.
Yeah, I think because it's like I'm trying to picture you there, but I know we talked about it. But I've
Yeah.
seen you do the work. I showed up at meetings at the I'm not sure what the name of it's called. Maybe you can help me out. I get to the meeting and I see Dr. Tiffany there. I'm like, I see you, girl. I think we exchanged numbers that day. And
Uh-huh.
you're always on the go. You're actually doing the work, and I'm so proud of you for making this accomplishment of getting your PhD. Let's talk about that. How
Yeah.
did you do it? Because that is so amazing.
Yeah. It was hard. It was many nights that I cried. I cried. I cried. I thought I wasn't gonna be able to do it. I was going to school. I was going to work. I
Wow.
mean, I don't tell people this honestly, but when I did my first defense, I failed. When I did my defense, I failed, and so it was just by the grace of God that the dean or somebody came in and said, "Well, no, this is y'all just don't understand what she was trying to do," and people came to my rescue, and I was able to graduate. But I was devastated when I got the message that I had failed my defense. I was devastated. But it all worked out. But it was definitely by the grace of God. That was not something that I did in my own strength because I don't ever want to go to school again. I don't care what they come up with. If it's another degree that comes out, y'all can have it. I don't want it.
Have it. Let me tell you something. I've started that PhD program, I think, twice. And baby, after the first course, I'm like, well, hold up. I'm gonna put this right on back down.
Yes, I almost quit the first night. The first night of class, I was gonna quit. I was like, I'm not doing this. I just felt like this ain't for me because it was just a lot of pressure, and then you trying to work, and I wasn't no spring chicken. It was like I had already had a baby and a career, and I was all I just it was like, well, I don't need this, but I did. I thank God for it, and I'm just glad that it's over.
I'm
Glad it's over.
really, really proud of you. I remember like kind of halfway, I think I kind of remember about when you started, or at least when you announced it, that that's what
Mm-hmm.
you're doing. And it is not an easy task.
Right. It's
Not
not.
even for a day. And for you
No.
to stick to it. But you know what I like most about you, Dr. Tiffany? How you are not ashamed to speak about your shortcomings. You said, I
Yeah.
failed my defense. See, a lot of people would have came on the show and they would not have mumbled a word about it. But
Mm-mm.
that is what getting to the heart of the matter is about. You gotta let people know that, hey, I attempted, I failed,
I
I got
failed.
up, and I kept going. And
Kept
then
going.
now the significance is you are open, transparent, and now somebody is gonna be inspired because of what you're
Right.
doing. They're gonna say, man, I failed, but guess what? Dr. Tiffany said she failed too. Now let me go give it another chance. Let me go give
Right.
it a try. I love
Right.
it. Now you get me warmed up now. Wait a minute.
Right.
You get me going. Man, I love that. Now, let's talk about how can people get your book, the title of it, and let's dive off into the book now per se.
Okay, so you can actually go to Amazon and purchase my book. It is Lessons in the Valley, Overcoming the Cycle of Relationship Woundedness. It is a very personal story for me, very personal. Also, for those who are in the in the local area, you can actually contact me Instagram Miracle Counseling Services or on Facebook Miracle Counseling Services. If you inbox me, shoot me an inbox. I can definitely get that out to you, mail it to you, bring it to you, an autographed copy. Again, the book, we kind of talked a little bit about it. One thing I do want to say is that when you write a book about your story and how you overcame whatever the adversity was, which is one thing that I did write about,
Mm,
life will give you an opportunity to make sure that you meant what you said.
wow.
Life will provide you with an opportunity to make sure to see all that stuff that you wrote in them book about what you wrote in that book to those people. Do you really believe that?
Mm.
All that advice that you gave everybody about how you overcame and how you got up,
Woo.
do you believe it? And I'll be honest with you all and say, without saying too much, life is giving me the opportunity right now to say, did you mean what you said? Did you mean what you said when you wrote that on this page right here? Did you mean what you said when you said you was in the valley of why God, why? But you know that God gonna bring you out. So it's like right now, I'm in my office right now, my home office, and I'm looking in my book right now, and I'm having to go back and remember what I wrote to
Come on.
myself. And it's a quote in the book that I quoted Queen Mother Iyanla Vanzant, where she said, when you can look a thing in the eye and call it what it is and decide what role it'll play in your life, she said, then my beloved, you have found the path to freedom. And so I say that to say that right now I am in a transition where I'm being challenged to make sure that I believe what I wrote.
Yes.
And so I am standing on what I wrote. I'm
Yes.
standing on what I wrote. I know what I told y'all, but I'm having to go back and make sure I read what I told myself about these here lessons in the valley that I said.
Come
And
on.
I can say that, I may be on your show, Carlotta, in this time next year,
You
and
show
I'll be sharing a testimony
you show coming
about
back.
how I will overcome. And I don't know if it's okay to cry on your show.
Girl, yes, it is. You got this, Dr. Tiffany. Let me tell you something. You are so impactful. In this right here moment, I'm gonna tell you right now, because I already know it. You are an overcomer. Nothing can tear you down. And now I'm not just saying this just for Facebook or nothing like that, but I'm like real serious. I'm here
Mm-hmm.
for you, okay? People are on your side. And that's one thing about it, us women, we gotta support each other.
Yeah.
We gotta stand in the gap for each other. Cause
Yes.
let me tell you something. I'm picking up everything you putting down, and you ain't
Uh-huh.
talking about what you're talking about. You get what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Mm-hmm.
I am there with you, and I understand. I've been there, and I
Yeah.
didn't see my way out of it.
Yes.
It's like darkness all around. Like, how did I
All
get
around.
here again? You mean to tell me I'm right here in the same spot again? But I can tell you, listen, the word that was given to me, I remember I was right there. I've been right there before. And God just showed me. He told me, like in my spirit, it's the same way. He made a way when the Red Sea parted.
Mm-hmm.
And people walked across on dry land. You're gonna get to the promised land, darling.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you worry. It's
I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna be on your show this time next year. I'm gonna claim it. And I'm gonna put it in the atmosphere
yes.
right now. I'm gonna sow that seed right now. And this next year, I'm going to be on your show, and I'm going to be discussing how I overcame the adversity that I am going through right now, today.
Woo. Come on,
Because
God.
right in this very moment, and you know, I'm not a one that I don't put on for show. When I do what I believe in integrity, and I believe in telling the truth. And so right now, I will say I am going through one of the most difficult times I have ever been through in my entire 41 years of living, ever. And it's been moments through this process that I thought I was not going to make it. But I know that it's only by the grace of God that I am right here, right now. And
Yes,
so
ma'am.
I'm speaking it that this time next year, I'm going to be over your show, and I'm going to have a testimony on how I have overcome. I am in the process actually of writing a new book
Yes.
right now.
Yes.
And I don't even know how this story is going to end. I don't. And it's like every time I write, it's like I can't even finish the book because I don't know how the story is going to end. I don't know.
Come on now,
But
sis.
I know I get up and God give me something every single day. He just say, just write, just tell the story, and I'm going to do that. And so
Woo.
I don't know how many believers I got out there, but it's gonna be all right.
Yes.
It's gonna be all right.
Oh my.
I'm not immune because I'm a therapist. I'm not immune because I'm licensed. One of the things I said in my book, on the back of the book, if you get my book, it says, no matter who you are or what you do, it's some valleys, some lessons that only the valley can teach.
Woo.
So it don't matter what kind of degree you got or what kind of car you drive or how much money we gotta all go through the same valley. But one thing I know that if you look up the definition of the word valley, you'll see that it says it's a place that has fertile soil. And so what I know about fertile soil is that fertile soil can be used to help you grow
Yes.
in whatever it is that you're going through. And so I gotta believe that. You know how sometimes people have choices. When you get to a point where you don't have no more choices, you gotta trust God. You won't have no other choice but to trust God. And
Yes.
that's where I am right now.
Wow. So amazing. Oh my gosh. I agree with you. I'm in agreement with you that you will be back on the show. I was going to already tell you, you are welcome to come back. And can't wait to have you back next season. We want to do catch up, see where you are, how God has brought you out, and how you're going to be smiling from the inside out, how this whole situation is going to be turned
Yes.
around for you and your baby's favor. Okay?
Yes. It's
It's
already done.
already done. And oh my gosh, it's just been incredible. If you're tuning in just now, we are getting to the heart of the matter with Dr. Tiffany. Oh my gosh, I think this is one of my favorite episodes so far. It's surreal. The truth has been eye-opening. Her story, her story is just right on point, and so many people can relate to it. All
Yeah.
right. So you definitely want to share this story. Definitely want to make sure you get Dr. Tiffany's book, but be on the lookout for her next book coming out soon. Okay. Where can we expect this book?
This book will be out. I'm anticipating it to be out by the end of this year, 2021. If not 2021, it will definitely be out by January 2022. So I typically like to, my birthday month is January. What I did for this birthday month, 2021, I released my book January 2021. And so I like to keep with that theme, but if it's able to be, released sooner in December 2022, I'll do that.
Yes.
If my story is not complete by 2022, then it won't be released. But if the story is complete by then, I did speak with my editor today, and so we have a timeline that we're we're working on. And so, I'm hoping that by the end of the year, but if not this year, beginning of 2022, January 2022.
Absolutely. Outstanding. I'm really excited for you.
I am too.
Okay, so one thing that I know, you're getting ready to go to another level, Doc. Okay?
Yeah.
Because anytime you're in the storm, you're going into the storm, like you're in the storm.
I'm in the middle of it. I can't even see. When I tell you I can't see.
When you can't see, let me tell you, when you truly in the middle of a storm, you're gonna have peace. Okay, you're gonna find peace because in the eye of the storm, it's like you're in the middle of everything's happening around you.
Yeah.
When you come out of that, right now, you can literally start praising God right now. Let me tell you why. Something so much greater is coming.
Yeah. I received that.
What you're going through for a reason. It looks horrible right now. Like it's horrible. Like you can't see no way out. But if you start praising God right now, like you just got your breakthrough, you believe it, you feel it. That's all you know. You like, oh my gosh, something great got to be coming because I wouldn't be going through this right now. And I'm telling you, on the other side, you're gonna be like, I see. God just wants you to trust Him.
Yes.
That's it.
Yes.
You are gonna be just fine. Make sure you don't go nowhere. I'm gonna drop you back down in the green room, but don't go nowhere. We gotta chat in just a minute, okay? Thank you for coming on the show. Amazing, amazing.
Thank you.
Yes, 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 indeed. All right. Wow. Oh my gosh. Make sure you share this story. Make sure you share this live. Whether you're tuning in from Facebook or YouTube, Dr. Tiffany's story is just simply amazing. And you heard her. Be sure to get her book. Be sure to be on the lookout for her next upcoming book by January 2022. That sounds so weird. January 2022. Wow, time is truly passing, okay? And if it's not out by then, just stay tuned. Continue to follow her. Continue to follow the Heart of the Matter show. Be sure to like the page. Tell your friends and family about it. Everybody needs to hear these stories. They keep getting gooder and gooder. So I just want to say thank you for tuning in. Be sure to share with everyone you know about these Heart of the Matter show stories. They are so amazing. But Dr. Tiffany, isn't she just a gem? She is a hope, a light of inspiration. And she was very transparent. Being a lady, I can tell you this because I know I come from law enforcement. In her field, it's not easy to speak your truth. But y'all got to show us some love because she did that today. Have an amazing night. Until next time, see you next Thursday.
Thank you for tuning in to The Heart of the Matter. If you would like to sponsor an episode or be a guest on the show, email theheartofthemattershow@gmail.com. We look forward to seeing you next Thursday for another amazing episode.